as Black people, we have an intimate relationship with violence. And so often we turn it on each other. So what does it mean
That's
for me to
deep.
come to you with grace? That I don't necessarily feel, that I don't necessarily fully understand. But what does it mean to practice a grace that I'm going to have to learn? That I'm going to give you a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth chance? Because there's no way to build a future outside of building it together. We've learned, Black people have been taught to give all the grace to whiteness, and we do, and to never give each other second chances. Why? Because we've been taught that our Blackness is not worth a second look, and we don't want to admit that we believe it, but it manifests in how we treat each other. Untreated trauma from the systems that have shaped the countries that we are in. So we're in Ghana. We have a legacy of enslavement, of colonialism, and of military coups. So we need a national healing between us as Ghanaians of different generations. That's an intergenerational healing that's specific to us. And so when people hear in Ghana, people hear racial healing, they think, actually, I beg, which healing is that? For who? And part of what emotional justice does is get really specific about the Blackness in different locations and identify what is the work in that location. I was just a couple of months ago, I was in Cape Town, South Africa, and we were doing events across Cape Town at the Center for the Study of the Afterlife of Violence and the Reparative Quest in the University of Stellenbosch, at the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation, talking with the Desmond and Leah Tutu Foundation, talking specifically about Blackness within the South African context and how the Truth and Reconciliation Commission shaped a racial healing experience for Black people that really centered whiteness. It really centered white people.
Did it?
Yes, it was about soothing and affirming white anxiety, white fears, white emotionality. And what that means is that what we did not do and what did not happen is for there to be a specific focus to say to Black South African men, how did apartheid shape your masculinity? What does it mean if you have an intra-racial healing between you as Black people, recognizing that you've been shaped by the French, but like, hold up, wait a minute. We're taking everything back. And when you take everything back, it's not about negotiating who you're going to be to France. It's about negotiating who am I to myself and who am I to my Black brother or my Black sister, anywhere in the world they find themselves. So instead of when we think about an airline, for example, in Ghana, you think about Ghanaian Airlines, you think about we're going to compete with, I don't know, British Airways, Delta, and fly to here. What would it mean if we said, no, we're going to have an airline that takes you straight to the Caribbean, any island you want, that you can move around the continent with ease and speed?
That's what we need.
Yeah, we have an economy. We are an economy of entrepreneurs, but we've built an economy for multinationals. That's what untreated trauma looks like. That you are not building for who you are. You're building for who whiteness taught you that you are not. And the difference in those two things is the future that we've got to build and the future that we want to, the past that we've got to let go of. But you don't get over a past, you've got to move through it. You've got to navigate what it did to you, how it shaped you. And people don't want to say that. You know, we roll fly. Come through with a swagger, with your beautiful dress and your fly earrings, gorgeous chocolate. People don't want to admit or say that I have internalized the language of whiteness so that I believe when they validate me, I'm validated. It matters more to me that they validate me than that I validate myself. If we're in the States, African people have been taught, don't be around African Americans. We've been taught thugs, criminals, gangsters. They will be the reason for your demise. And that is a global narrative that is designed to stop Black people looking directly at the language of whiteness, looking directly at whiteness, looking directly at systemic oppression, looking directly at white supremacy, and saying, you are the common denominator, not us. You are the common denominator. What does it mean for us to turn to each other, look each other in the eyes, and say, what is our emotional work between us and within us? Because the individual work then connects to the institutions and the systems that we're part of. And emotional justice is unique as a racial healing roadmap, because that's what it's saying.